Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour, brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, arts and entertainment creatives and supporters and contributors. Great to have you along as always. The Dipsy Doodle Productions studio has had a good amount of traffic. This week, we talked to Emily Wilson about tonight's The Vaudies early Christmas party. Then a new face to the Vaudies is Shannon Dancler, and she talks about the dancing and singing that she'll be doing in tonight as she makes her The Vaudies debut. Then the Dalton Petersen trio, that's Dalton along with Jeff Thor and Christian DeJongh, talk about the full-length LP they're releasing December 6th. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Whatever you're drinking and whatever you're drinking it out of might very well be determined by where and when you're listening. Now, my choice, as per usual, a Jasper Newton. That's Jack Daniels Diet Coke with a lime. For you, might be a cup of coffee, could be a glass of milk, could be a spot of tea, could be a bottle of water, maybe a mug of beer, a cocktail, a glass of wine, or a flute of champagne. No matter what, lift it high and toast to Jason and Tiffany Fitzer. They're celebrating the first anniversary of their wonderful gallery, Serendipity Studio. Lovely gallery showcasing local and regional artists. It's also a great gallery for learning, and also you may want to consider buying a gift down there too. Anyway, congrats, my friends, and thanks for being a show sponsor. Cheers to you, Jason, Tiffany, and Serendipity. The Weekend Eve Toast brought to you by Chasers, West 12th Street and Ellis Road. Chasers has great food and beverages, and on Monday nights at 7, we play Dave Holly Hour Trivia. This coming Monday, November 25th, will be our monthly wild card game, but it's also the Monday before Thanksgiving, so we're talking turkey. In other words, it's going to be wild turkey trivia.
Honorable mention.
One over the past week made Dave laugh, guffaw, chuckle, chortle, giggle, simply smile, or maybe even shed a tear of joy. Improv Falls, a great show that eased the frustration of laryngitis, which obviously I'm not completely over, so could have used more of that throughout the rest of the weekend, but lots of laughs. It was great. Later in the show, the Dalton Petersen Trio. In just a few minutes, the Vaudies co-host Emily Wilson and first-time the Vaudies performer, Shannon Dancler, talk about tonight's show on the Dave Holly Hour. Serendipity Studio in downtown Sioux Falls has a great selection of art from local and regional artists. The Giving Thanks exhibit is a reflective exploration of the artist's personal world, inviting you to delve into your own feelings of thanks. Art from creatives you know makes for wonderful gifts. Serendipity Studio in the historic Shriver Square building, downtown Sioux Falls.
Are you an artist? Need some funding to further your art? There's a great opportunity for you through a Sioux Falls Arts Council program. The Artist Microgrant program gives away several microgrants to local artists, no matter what art discipline you're in. Unlike more traditional grants, a microgrant is very easy to apply for. Go to artssiouxfalls.org. If you haven't done so yet, create a listing on the Artist Directory, which is beneficial in its own way. Then go to the Artist Microgrants page and apply online. The process is simple. Find out more about the Sioux Falls Arts Council as well online at artssiouxfalls.org.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics, inside Oscar's Mini Storage. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes, special open studio nights, and completed ready-to-purchase items. Bisque, studio time, or painting parties are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in person today or email tjsceramics@gmail.com for more details.
Time for more arts and entertainment talk on the Dave Holly Hour.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. It is such a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment. It's such a pleasure to have new guests, which we're going to have in the show coming up here. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, possibly. Okay? In the meantime, it's always great to have a returning guest, and, well, she's not at the top of the leaderboard, but she is in the top 5 of guest appearances.
I'll take it.
Yes. Emily Wilson, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Dave?
Oh, I'm better anytime I see you.
Oh,
yeah.
likewise.
Oh, thank you. You're catching on.
It's only taking me.
Of course, one of the reasons you get to be on often is because of the Vaudies.
Yes.
Which you and I are co-hosts and co-producers of. And my goodness gracious, here on this Thursday, we have our final show of the year.
Yes.
Icon Lounge, 7:30. Tickets are now cut off. They got cut off last night at midnight. But you can come to the door.
Get your tickets at the door.
$20 at the door. So come by and join us for a whole bunch of fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
This is going to be an amazing show with so much talent and so much fun and some of the best people out there.
That's
so
for sure.
Don't miss this one.
No, you don't want to do that.
Do not miss it.
That is for sure. Might be a few edits in this one because Dave might have to do this from time to time.
It's good to have a cold when you're a voice guy, right?
Exactly, yeah. Just what a guy that makes some of his money off of needs.
Yeah, right.
Started laryngitis, then, I don't know, we probably had some walking pneumonia in the Boogie Woogie Blues or something.
Oh.
I just know it wasn't good.
No, you sounded rough on Friday, but you're doing much better now.
At least you could hear me sound.
Okay.
A little bit.
I can hear you, Charlie.
Charlie's fine.
Yeah, Charlie, you are good.
We're wondering when he's going to get laryngitis.
Never.
Yeah, that's true. He's a little active for all of that.
Yes.
But once again, you're taking great care of him over there.
Yeah.
That helps, that's for sure.
Playing a little tug war with Charlie here.
All right, so join us tonight, 7:30 at the Icon. We should run down who all those great new acts are.
I would love to do that. We are going to start with some song and dance by Jimmy McLean and Shannon Dancler.
Yes, 2 new people.
2 new people. Mr. Twister, a balloon artist and magician.
Yeah.
I am so excited to see him.
It'll be his first time.
Yes. My very good friend, Zach Dresch.
Oh, what a guy.
I love Zach.
Oh, who doesn't?
If they don't, we're going to have words.
No kidding.
Because I'm going to find them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make them regret that.
Exactly.
Should I be threatening people on here? But I've seen Zach do stand-up a million times.
Oh,
and
yes.
I still laugh every time.
Exactly.
And I love the new stuff he comes up with.
And one of the things is you can always just laugh at him.
Well, yeah, he's okay with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's lost 40 pounds, though.
I know.
And he's looking really good.
Looking really good. So,
Yeah, so it'll be great to have him on. And he's a Vaudies alumni.
yes.
He's been on a few times before.
Yep.
And made very little money, which most of these people do, but they do it for the love of it.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
And so the money that you spend for us goes to paying off them and some administrative things. And here we go again.
Here we go. Oh. We love a cough.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and then we have Katie Reedy. Am I saying that right?
Reed.
Reed. Okay, Katie Reed.
Katie Reed.
So excited to hear her play and sing with Matt Morrison, another one of my really good friends that I love and adore.
Right, yes. And Katie is actually an alum.
Yes.
She has performed on a Vaudies show, I think, one time, and then also on a Big D Entertainment variety show one other time, too.
Nice.
Yeah,
she
so-
has an impressive background, so.
That she does. And
Yeah.
a great voice and one of those personalities that just kind of lights up a room.
Yeah.
And so she and Matt have been playing together now for about a year, I
About a
suppose.
year. Yep.
And so it was great to see that those two ended up getting together to collaborate. Matt's first time on the show.
Yes.
Ugh.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know what you and Matt have in common? You've both played Santa Claus.
Yes.
Yes, you were.
I thought you were going to say Midtown Coffee Radio Hour.
Well, at Midtown. In Midtown. So, and I've never performed with Matt, but, you know, I've performed with Amy.
Right.
So
Yeah.
now that I've got to be friends with Matt and love him, adore him, and
yeah.
most importantly, the cat, Monica the Whiskers.
Yes.
So.
What a great name, huh?
It is a great name.
Loved that one.
Oh.
And he's multi-talented in terms of the different instruments he can play.
Yes, it's incredible.
And I thought it was kind of funny because Katie had reached out to me and said, hey, I've still got some gigs as Common Ground, and I might need a new partner. And I said, well, okay, let me reach out. So the first one I thought of was Matt, because he and his late wife
Yes.
used to play together. And so I reached out to him. He says, I just don't know if my guitar is up to speed, if I'm good enough to play guitar. It's like, well, why don't you just call her and, see what happens. And he said, the first time or two, a little rough. Then they kind of got to the point that they could play for a few hours, have different things. And then all of a sudden he says, then one night it just clicked.
Oh,
Yeah, and so
I love
it
that.
works out very, very well.
That's so awesome. Well, next we have the incredible, wonderful, and very sweet Rebecca Merriman.
Oh.
Look at her. She's so awesome.
She is.
She's so awesome. Yeah. She's accomplished so much on and off the stage, and I'm so excited to see her tap dance. I've seen the commercial with her where she's just so cute.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
For
It's
Finding
so-
Designs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Charlie.
And that's got tons of local talent in it.
Tons of local talent.
Wow.
So much
fun to see.
Yes.
So, and a great little storyline they have with it, too. Yeah. And so then also, this will be our first time that we've had tap dancing
Yeah.
on the show.
I love tap dancing.
Yeah, very, very cool. And she'll be tap dancing along with Brenda Ludens,
Ludens. Yes.
who I knew her from like 20 years ago. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting ready to host trivia one night out at Chasers. I kept thinking, gosh, this gal kind of looks familiar. And then all of a sudden, she comes over and she says, are you David? Said, yeah. I said, you look familiar, but I can't place you. She says, well, I'm Brenda Ludens. It's like, oh, my goodness gracious. And I already knew that she could sing. But all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, she decides to get back into theater.
Oh, I love it. I met her a couple summers ago doing Broadway and Beyond. She sang and tap danced for that Kim Bartling production, and I hosted. So it was nice to get to know her there and spend a little bit of time with her. It's always a whirlwind of a week, so you don't really get to know people. But it was nice to meet her there and get to know her a little bit.
I didn't realize that she had been dancing like a great part of her life.
Yeah.
And finally, showing off these talents.
Yes.
And then also an incredible actress. And she was in broadcast theaters, Deer in the... it was broadcast then. And Deer in the Antelope play.
Yes.
And phenomenal show. And really, really good job by everybody that was in that. So fun to see that. Oh, and do we have one more new person?
One more new person. The local Christmas storyteller who just warms your heart and spirit, Jeff Gold.
Yeah, Jeff is just an amazing guy. He's been doing the Christmas bit for many years. People don't realize because they hear him locally on Kello FM, which his show will start the day after Thanksgiving, go every day, that includes the weekends, until Christmas Eve day. He still does that show, and then it's over. But he also has a syndicated radio program of 24 hours of Christmas.
Wow.
That I am fortunate enough to be the producer and distributor of.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
what
so
a nice partnership.
Exactly. And Jeff is just one of those incredible people. He also has a program called America's Story.
Yes.
Recently got to see the whole thing. I'd seen quite a bit of it on video, but I hadn't been to it in person. And what an amazing presentation. And the best part is, it's neither red nor blue. It's just all red, white, and blue.
Awesome.
And it's presented in such an incredible way. And just so thankful I got to see that. But if you've not seen Jeff in person or heard Jeff on his Christmas show, you are going to be amazed at the way that he can tell a story. In fact, his good friend Bob Euchre has dubbed him America's Storyteller.
Oh, what a great title.
It is. It's so profound and so spot on, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, hey, did I hear something, a little rumor that somebody that showed up unexpectedly last year at that holiday show, yeah, they're a couple of cousins or something, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Yes, they'll be coming back. They're coming out of hiding.
Yeah.
Yes, they're everyone's favorite duo.
Yeah. Mirth, Girth, and Miss Mary Mint.
Miss Mary Mint.
And they're actually going to be doing the giveaways. And I tell you what, we got some fun stuff to give away. Oh, my. We always have something we'll give no matter what. But, in fact, they're even wrapped already. They're behind the picture over there or something. Yeah.
You're on the ball.
Yes.
You're so on the ball.
And you actually have one of those. So you.
I do. It's so lovely.
It is. It's very, very cool.
Yes.
So thankful that Santa Claus was able to donate those to us.
Yes, very generous of Santa.
Yeah. You will not see Santa at this show, but you'll see one of his messengers, I'm sure.
Probably.
And I think that at the front door, or at least at the merch table, or volunteers and so forth, might be some elves.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love a little elf.
Yeah.
Just like the little elf who helped us fold our programs.
Oh, what a great little elf.
What a great little elf he was.
And it was just him, not his older elf brother?
No, not the older elf brother could not.
Well, we're going to make the older elf brother jealous.
Fine.
Because I think we're going to pay that elf even more than we had said.
All right, you got help for life then.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping on.
He'll be there for you.
So again, it's coming up tonight, 7:30 at the Icon, $20 at the door. We would love to see you come join us. And by the way, if you weren't at the past show, well, 2 past shows ago, where we were selling our orange commemorative cup,
yes.
Vaudies cup, filled with Vaudies Variety Pub Mix.
Variety Mix.
Yes. You can get that for $5.
Mm-hmm.
You get to keep the cup.
Mm-hmm.
The mix is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you prefer a different type of mix, such as Jack Daniel's Diet Coke, you will get 50% off of your well drinks. Your first one, this is.
Your first well drink.
Yeah, first well drink or first beer or glass of wine that you're going to have there that night.
At Icon.
Yes,
What
that's
a
a
good
gift
deal.
from them.
That is a good gift.
And we're so happy that we're going to be there. But not only will we be there for this show, oh my.
But our 2025 season.
Yes.
Yes.
Should we announce it?
Yes.
All righty.
All right. Get out your pen and your paper. Get out your planners and mark down March 6th, June 26th, September 25th, and November 13th. It's gonna be good.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it will.
And looking forward to, as always, co-hosting with you tonight.
Likewise.
All right. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour. In fact, we're going to be back in just a moment with one of the new people this year, Shannon Dancler. What a great name for somebody that sings and dances.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Back in just a moment.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at Exo Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exochiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. Exo Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Hot? No. Cute? No. Ruggedly handsome? Yes. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, just told you a moment ago, didn't I, that, after speaking with Emily Wilson, we were going to speak with a new member of Vaudies, Shannon Dancler. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Glad
Thanks,
to
Dave.
hear that. Yes, great to have you here to talk about the show that we have coming up tonight here on a Thursday morning. And so it's going to be your first time in the Vaudies.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been having a lot of first times of late, haven't you?
I have.
You just had a debut with the Goodnight Theater Collective.
I did.
Last weekend.
Yes.
And it was an absolutely phenomenal show.
Yeah, that was very fun to be a part of. And
Yeah.
getting to dance and not have to.
And not have to sing in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Now,
very nice.
what was the first love for you?
Dancing.
Dancing was?
For
Okay.
sure. Yes,
Yeah.
I've been dancing since I was able to walk, basically.
Mhm.
And then was in organized dance since I was like 5.
Right.
So it's been 21 years.
Wow. How about that?
I know.
Yeah. Sometimes you sit there and think, it's just, then you count them and go, wow.
Yeah.
Been doing this a long time. Yeah. But
Mhm.
it shows, though. You have,
I hope so.
well, you have I always love it when it comes to not so much judging people, because I don't like to judge people, but noticing people
Yeah.
and what makes them remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
And I always love when I can see somebody that is just so natural on stage.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
you are one of those.
Thank you.
Yeah. And,
Yes, I love it.
and so got to see you dance. It's like, well, glad we have her coming on our show on Thursday night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about that as well, because that'll be a combo of dancing
Right.
and singing.
Exactly. And you and Jimmy McLean are going to be doing quite a bit of that together.
Yes.
Let's see, because you're going to start off with a song and dance number
Yes.
that for anybody that has seen the movie White Christmas, they'll know it. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Definitely.
Yeah, because all things happen while you're dancing.
Absolutely. It'll be a great way to kick off that show.
Yes, it will be. Because you're going to be on quite a bit of it throughout,
Mm-hmm.
and so that is a good way to start it. No doubt about that. You'll be the opening act.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's got to set the bar high.
And then you two will be back, kind of in the middle, and I think you're going to sing, or Jimmy's going to sing
Mhm.
first, or you got the duet, don't you? And
Yes,
then
we have a
and then
couple of
each is
those.
solo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end, requested by me,
Yeah.
the Christmas Waltz.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love that.
Kind of
tune.
a jazzy version of
Yes.
Christmas Waltz.
So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'll be really nice.
Okay. Really nice, she says.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. So 20 years of dancing, 20 plus years of dancing under your belt.
Yeah.
When did the singing and the acting all come along?
I started singing through like school choirs.
Mhm.
So that's been since elementary school, middle school. And then I'd say high school is when I took more of an interest in it and like started taking some private lessons.
Right.
And that grew through college. And then literally in the last 3-4 years is when I've gotten more so into the musical theater, like contemporary world of singing and away from the choral music, since I like haven't been in a choir since college.
Right.
So I started taking voice lessons with more of like a musical theater contemporary vocal coach. And then since then I've been like, oh my gosh, like I can sing some of these things that I like hear in shows that I'm just like in awe of, or like
Right.
on the radio, and I'm like, oh. And it's a lot of just like figuring out your own voice, whereas like in choir, like you're trying to create a certain sound. So I think that's what sparked more of an interest in my own voice.
Right.
Yeah.
And what have you been in locally?
Recently, I was just in Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Last year, about a year ago. A few years before that, I was in Beauty and the Beast when the Sioux Empire Community Theater did it, and was Babette, so I got to be a nice little feather duster. And I think those are the two stage things I've done recently. And I also do choreography for the Premier Playhouse and high schools around the area for their musicals.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you keep busy then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Tell us about the background of the education, because I know it wasn't just, being an organized dance. You've gone on and done some studying.
I have. I happen to at least be decent at studying also. I don't know if I would say I like it, but my academic schooling is in physics and electrical engineering. And basically the main reason for that, I will credit this to her, is because my mother, my dear mother, suggested that not only dancing, but I should also major in something else where I could support myself someday and not need to, do the jobs where you have to wake up at 5 a.m. and like work as a barista or a fitness instructor or whatever, as well as like grinding and dancing.
Yeah. Not the struggling actor.
Yes. Which looking back, I am grateful for. Of course, at the time I was like, I just want to dance and go to school for that. So that was basically it. I got my undergrad degree in physics, knew I didn't want to get a job in that, but had always been interested in engineering and the environment as well. So I wanted to figure out a way to combine those things. And it just so happened that doing electrical engineering focused on like the power system and renewable energy and like utility scale projects, rolled all that into one. So that's what I got my master's in. And have been, working in that as well as doing all these dancing and performing things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Smart, talented. Oh. Where does it end?
Oh, there. I'm just kidding.
You have a very sharp wit about you. A lot of people would say quick, which it is, but it's also a sharp one too. It's the unexpected part that's coming along with it. So great answer by that.
Thank you.
So next you'll be trying improv, I'm sure. But that was kind of one of those, you never know.
No, honestly, I'll do anything once. Honestly.
Well, thank God you're trying the Vaudies tonight. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have the feeling that you might be, we don't really have regulars ever, but there are people that make it back to the show from time to time, like our comedian Zach Dresch.
Yes.
Katie Reed from Common Ground, and then Matt Morrison. It'll be his first time as he's playing with her then. But, some other dancers too. Tap dancing. Rebecca Merriman and Brenda Lutz are going to be in that show.
That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. We've not had tap dancing yet. So really looking forward to that, because we like finding variety, because it's vaudeville. It's modern day vaudeville. So we're always on the lookout for that. Okay, so got that plug in then. And so you're going to be singing and dancing.
Mhm.
And that in and of itself, in my opinion, is a huge talent, along with anybody that can be in a rock band and play an instrument and sing at the same time, too.
Right.
Yeah.
I do wish I could do that. I need to work on that. I want to work on
Okay.
that. Maybe next time.
Do you play any instruments?
Not currently, but I played the tuba for many years in like middle school and high school, and I was really good, actually, I have to say. Like, I went to like all-state band and all that jazz. I did, but
okay. And you're what, 5 foot?
3.
5'3"?
Yep.
And playing a tuba? Okay.
Yeah. So.
Do you know Bob Nelson?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Premier Playhouse?
Yeah.
He was probably your mic wrangler in one show or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's an old tuba player.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can see it. Kindred spirits. Yes. Yeah, but I did give that up because, well, I didn't own it. For one, those are very expensive instruments.
No kidding.
And it wasn't my favorite.
So what was your favorite
then? It was a lot to lug around. So I also picked up tenor saxophone because I found one in our like high school band room and was like, I want to play something other than the tuba, but did not keep that up either because I didn't own one either. So now I have a guitar and am trying to get sufficient at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, is it a self-taught situation?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Do you use like Guitar Hero or anything?
No, I haven't.
I'm
just there's a lot of resources on YouTube, honestly. So like
True.
starting there and just like learning some chords and then going from there.
But obviously the dance was not self-taught.
No, I've had many, many, many teachers and spent many hours in a dance studio for the dance.
But now it carries over that you do get to be creative with it on your own by being a choreographer.
Yeah.
And of course, there's times where you probably have some improvisational dance.
Yeah, which that's something that I'm getting more comfortable with just now even. I think it takes a lot of just like trusting yourself within the movement and like being able to know that whatever happens will be like good technically as well as make sense in your body, or like sometimes it doesn't if you're in like a really free improv session. But I always think of it as like, if I forget the steps I'm supposed to be doing, like, do I trust myself enough to like keep going and not like let people know? So yeah, I think that's developed a lot recently.
All right. So where are some of the places that you've danced at?
I have danced a lot around Sioux Falls, of course, doing like studio shows. I grew up going to Main Stage Ballet and Dance Academy, which is now Haven Arts Collective and Haven Dance Academy. So on the Pavilion stage a lot, which is amazing because that's an amazing theater. And then more so in my recent years, I was just out in New York City doing the Broadway Dance Center professional semester. And we got to do a show at the Alvin Ailey Citigroup Theater, which was really exciting for so many reasons. Yeah, that was really great. And I also got to dance at the Orpheum Theater in St. Paul. I think it has a longer name. It's like the Orpheum Performing Arts Center or something.
Yeah.
But I was in another production of Beauty and the Beast there, and that was some crazy dancing.
Ironically, we saw the musical White Christmas.
Did you?
At the Orpheum up there. Yeah.
That's probably amazing. That's actually running at the Chanhassen right now.
Oh, wow.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, so many great things up there. But you know what? It's just because I grew up in the area, just 35 miles away from Rock Rapids, Iowa, small town. Coming up here when I was first able to legally drive and, take a date to the big city.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The population was 68,000.
Wow.
And by taking a date out culturally meant you were going to the movie theater. Because they had like dozens of theaters versus the one down in your hometown.
Right.
Where everybody's going to talk about, did you see what Dave was on with that?
Yeah.
And then the other thing was they had the symphony, but you really only came up and went to that for the holiday show.
Sure.
Sioux Falls people were there year round, but if you were an outsider, it was pretty well you were just going in there for that.
Right.
Yeah. So fun stuff, but it wasn't a huge arts community at that point.
Yeah.
And now it is. And I talk about it practically every week on this show at some point about the growth of it all.
Yeah.
And what do you think of the growth of the arts community here in Sioux Falls?
Yeah. I think that's a great point, even because I feel like I end up talking about this with my friends or family, even how it's really nice to see that there's a lot more artistic things that are going on, or I feel like there is more of a push to bring in different kinds of acts and things like that as well. So like it's really cool to see the Levitt happening.
Oh, wow.
And which is amazing. And then also like even the more like theater companies with like Monstrous and like other places like Corson and all of those roll into one. So it's cool to have so many opportunities and learning about them more. Like in high school, obviously I grew up around here as well. I went to T.
Back when it was just little old T.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just being able to learn about all the opportunities more. Like I feel like the marketing is a lot better, obviously. And like it's a bigger community, so you meet more of the people and then they just pull you in.
Right. Yeah. Well, and we talk about, the community aspect of community theater. And then also the fact that you grow a family if you're involved in theater around here.
Yes, that is absolutely true. I just moved back like full-time a year and a half ago after my New York program to get a little break from the bigger city. And just doing the Little Mermaid show, I feel like I met so many people that are still my friends now. So I think that's absolutely true, where it's like you meet people and they are amazing, kind-hearted, nice people. So then you want to continue like either doing shows or seeing them. And then you see them in everything else as well, because everyone's so intertwined and involved in everything. Yeah.
And what are you looking forward to about the Vaudies show tonight?
I'm looking forward to letting the Sioux Falls community also hear me sing more. I think I'm obviously associated with dancing a lot, which is my first passion, as we've talked about. But I have been putting in some good work and have gotten to a point where I'm like, I think I'm a good singer. But it's something I need to build my confidence on. So I like doing things where it's like I do put myself in that situation where I sing more and not just fall back on dancing that I'm so comfortable with. So I'm excited about that. It's more of like a personal growth push.
Well, let's tie a couple of things together there on that then. So you've already said that you're finding out, oh, hey, I can sing. And you've already had the dance. So, and you've been in some musicals. But as you get better singing and having that combo of the singing and the dancing together, and you're auditioning for musicals, what have you get ordered, or not ordered, what have you get offered a role that's a starring role, and then you're going to have a bunch of lines to memorize as well, and act.
Yes.
You ready for it? You want to take it on head on?
I absolutely would. Yeah, I have some exposure with that. If you can't tell based on how we've talked so far, that is, if we had to rank the three, it would be the lowest one. But I do find that I enjoy acting, or like now thinking of all the things that fall into acting, even within musicals, even when you are in the ensemble, and thinking about like who your character is and like how they relate to every other single character, and like what your relationship might be to the lead characters is really interesting. So getting to do that more like on a supporting or a lead level would be interesting as well. I haven't done a ton of that in my life. I've only had a couple like larger roles, but one of them was actually Mimi Marquez in Rent. And I feel like I learned so much because I was like, what the heck am I going to do? But I feel like you learn a lot about yourself as well. At least I did. I learned a lot about myself, learning more about acting. So I'm excited to do more of that.
Okay.
And I hope to do more.
I'm
as well.
pleased to hear that.
Yeah.
And I think the rest of the community will be as well. All right. And is there a particular role that you have in mind?
Just in general, like ever in my life that I would ever want to do, I have a laundry list of them.
Let's go through some of it.
Esmeralda in The Hunchback of Notre Dame would be amazing. Really, really high is Christine Daae in Phantom of the Opera.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one. I would love to be specifically Demeter in Cats, or literally anything in that musical. But again, that's a dance musical. Those are definitely the top 3. Other musicals that I love. What's it called? Guys and Dolls. Why is her name escaping me? She like the saintly patron woman. I think that would be a very fun role.
Well, if you get that, I might even try to get the Frank Sinatra part then.
Yes.
Because I already know how to sing Luck Be a Lady.
Amazing. We're halfway there. Yeah. So there is kind of a theme there, though. I like musicals that have a lot of dancing as well. A chorus line would be amazing. Any part in that.
Mm-hmm. So you could be one singular sensation.
I could. Yeah, those are a few of them.
Okay. How about people that you idolize in the world of dance? Those that you really look up to or inspired by?
Yes. So this is definitely a more recent one from spending more time in New York City. There is a dancer, singer, actor who has been on Broadway and was also like a Radio City Rockette, and her name is Corey Pettinaud. She is just an absolutely phenomenal dancer and like has been on some TV shows like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and has been in so many Broadway shows, was just in the like Bob Fosse's Dancin', which I saw so many times and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And like Chicago, and has done all shows that are like I would also want to be in. But the way that she moves is so captivating. And the detail is what really catches my eye. And I think that's something that like mature dancers get. Like you don't necessarily need to be like doing 500 turns or like kicking your face anymore. It's like, how do you do the little transition steps, or like, can you move your shoulder in the smallest way to like grab everyone's attention? And she does that so amazingly. As well as a woman named Sarah Juliet Shaw is a inspiration as well. She's closer to my age and was someone that I met while I was in New York as well, but is such a good example of like dedication, hard work. She has been growing her like teaching status in New York City from performing as well, which is really interesting to see. Just how your dedication to your craft and to your students and to your sharing passion for dance can lead you to places as well. Yeah, those are big ones at the moment.
How would you describe yourself as a dancer?
I would say that as a dancer, I have like a strong intensity or stage presence and like to involve the audience if I can, or at least try and make eye contact with them, which is not always easy because it can be awkward. But yeah, I would say that's how I would describe myself. I'm also like, if you want to get into like technical details, like I'm a very strong technical dancer because I've done ballet forever and like technical jazz, which is good. They're good. It's one of those love-hate relationships, you know. It's really good for you. It's like eating broccoli.
How many dance routines were you in last weekend in Goodnight Theater Collective?
Yes. I was in 10 dance numbers for the cabaret show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how long had you rehearsed?
For the cabaret, we only rehearsed for 4 or 5 weeks and probably had maybe like 8 rehearsals, and like I would say there were 4 main rehearsals where we learned like all of the dances. Yeah. And then I was just retaining it.
Yeah, I was just going to say because it's tough enough to memorize lines.
Yeah.
Sometimes songs are a little easier because maybe you really like the song. But when it comes to the dance, how do you compare that to, memorizing anything else?
I think the basics of it are similar. But I also do think it is like a muscle and a skill that you need to like work and practice. And I actually like teach some workshops around here about like choreography retention and like tricks and ways that you can retain choreography faster. Because I do think is that like if you build up your toolbox of different ways to actually learn it and like make it stick the first time, then it just helps down the process. And then of course it's like the more classes you take or the more like different scenarios you're in with dancing, then it just becomes easier to remember because you've been through it so many times.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a muscle and it's also just takes practice, but being diligent about it too when you're learning it helps and like being fully there.
All right. So I asked you earlier about like a dream role. What about a pinnacle of dance? What would that be for you? Maybe a particular venue or...
being a backup dancer for Lady Gaga would be amazing. I mean, if we're shooting for the stars.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I feel like at this day and age, something like that would be crazy, like absolutely amazing if we were talking about like strictly just dancing, or like being like a Cirque du Soleil show. That would be really cool as well, I think. Yeah. And I've known a couple people who've done that and it sounds cool.
Yeah. Those are phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's a completely different genre of art.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's cool that they combine like dancing with all of like the acrobatics and everything else because it's just such a spectacle then, I feel like.
And the made up language every time too. Just find that fascinating.
Yeah.
And the squeaks you hear are from the mascot, Charlie. He got a new toy. It's a turkey because we got Thanksgiving next week. All right. So again, tonight, it's 7:30 at the Icon, Shannon Dancler, with the perfect name for somebody that loves to dance. And we've already talked about that before, haven't we?
Might have mentioned it once.
Yeah, might have come up with it. Thought I was brilliant, and it's probably the 800th time in just the last year that you probably heard that. But you get the final two questions, how you, as any first-time guest does.
Sure.
Yeah, you come back more than once, you get different questions. But your answer to question number one determines whether you need to or not the second question.
Okay.
So the first one is, when you are not part of the arts and entertainment community, what do you like to be entertained by?
This is a really good question. And by this, do you mean what kind of entertainment I like to consume that is like performing arts or like just media in general?
Or media in general, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I would say if I'm not partaking myself, it kind of depends on what mood I'm in. So this might be a multi-part answer.
Okay.
So if I feel like having a more like stimulating intellectual type of entertainment, I have been into reading the Game of Thrones books. There's like 5 of them and they're all like super big. Yes. Or like any books like that genre. I've also read like the Lord of the Rings series. So anything like that's very fantastical and is a journey. I really enjoy that. If I'm more of just a lounging, like I need to like kind of shut my brain off but be entertained by something, I really enjoy like TV shows that are like, I don't know if I want to say as far as like true crime because sometimes that gets too scary, but like the ones that are like maybe based off of that, or have like hints in like investigation or like figuring things out. Like I haven't done it yet, but I want to watch the Anna Kendrick movie, Woman of the Hour. It's like, that one is a true story, I guess, but those pique my interest as well.
All right.
Yeah.
So the second question then is, any other hobbies?
Besides dancing and singing. I know. I do enjoy baking. Yes.
Okay. Do you have a go-to?
I actually do have a go-to. It's a very like elaborate recipe actually, and I just stumbled across it on YouTube a couple years ago. It's a white chocolate raspberry blondie, and it has like caramelized white chocolate and raspberry jam and freeze-dried raspberries and white chocolate chips, and then you bake it into a blondie, and they're just ooey and gooey and so good. Yeah.
And yet you're trim.
It's because it's such a process that I only make it like once a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would not.
Shannon Dancler, thank you so much. Appreciate your time and being on the show, and
absolutely,
even more so being in tonight's show.
Yes,
All
looking
right.
forward to it, and thank you for having me here.
My pleasure. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Funny, engaging, connected. He's the entertainment reporter for Sioux Falls. Here's Dave Holly.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say it. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment, and it's always great to have new people on the show. And let's see, I think I first met Dalton about 2 years ago, and then I met Christian year and a half, maybe?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, about then. Yeah. And, well, hey, Jeff, welcome. The three of you are the trio, and you have an album coming out. And this is not an EP.
Correct. It's a full-length album.
Full length. All right. I love full-length albums.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
10 tracks.
10 tracks.
It'll have 12 tracks, but 10 of them are songs.
Okay. And the other two are outtakes?
Just speaking.
Oh.
Yeah, speaking. It was all recorded live at Trio Jazz Club.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah,
so when was it recorded then?
October 4th and 5th. Yeah.
Quick turnaround for this project then, isn't it?
It was all quick. I mean, we rehearsed a week before it, and we were like, hey, we got this recording equipment. We should just record it and see what happens. So we brought it all to Trio Jazz Club. We set it up, and we got about 10 tracks that we really liked, so we decided to put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just see what happens.
So when it comes to using what you recorded at a live session in a live situation then, does that make it easier for putting it together afterward? Slap it in there. It's good.
That was a little tricky. I mean, it took us we got together maybe 3 times to really narrow down which tracks we liked. And,
oh, true. Yeah, because you probably played more than 10 tunes.
We played quite a few, yeah. 2 nights, 2 shows each night.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm just so in love with the Trio Jazz Club.
Great. Great.
Wow.
Place.
You know, it was nice when, first of all, some jazz came back when Ricardo opened up our wine.
Right.
It's like, oh, hey, a couple of times is nice.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we've got this Trio Jazz Club coming to town.
That's right.
Which was perfect timing because we heard that right after we had been down to Omaha for a weekend. And we had gone down there with the idea, oh man, they got all these great jazz clubs. They were all closed.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's like,
really?
Man, Omaha jazz clubs are closed. What are we going to do here? And just so happened then that I have Matt Wallace's phone number. And so I texted him and said, any chance you're playing anywhere this weekend? And he texts back with a picture of a poster. Haig Brothers and him a block and a half from the hotel we were at. So that worked out fine.
Sure.
All right, Dalton, what made you choose these two guys to be in your trio?
That's a great question. I met both these guys when I was in college. I was a young freshman coming in. I think you were a junior probably.
Yeah, junior.
You were in your
senior.
last year.
Yeah, I
yep.
must have been a senior. Super senior.
Yep.
Super senior, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Sound like a redshirt freshman? A super senior?
Just means I can fly. That's all it means. Yeah, I was a fifth year senior there.
Yeah. Okay.
So these were the first guys I really met and hung out with.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of welcomed me in, and
Right.
and we played a lot in college, and then Christian went off to get his doctorate. And we didn't see each other for a while. Jeff and I played in another group for a while. And Christian moved back to town, and we just kind of got back together, and it just worked right away.
Well, didn't you have a gig with a different group? Wasn't something lined up where you were supposed to play with this other group, and then they bailed, and you said, "Oh man, I need to put a group together because we're playing at our wine bar."
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
And you reached out, and it was like maybe the day before or something. And you said, "I need to put a group together right now."
Yeah,
so you reached out to
right.
us too, and we thought, "Oh gosh, what are we going to call this thing?" And Jeff said, "My name's not going to be anything. You're not going to use my name."
Yeah, it's the last name alone is just a nightmare.
And no one can say or pronounce DeJongh. So it was like,
except me.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's right.
That's true. That's true. And he's like, okay, I guess it's the Dalton Petersen trio. Let's do it. And honestly, I didn't think we thought it was going to turn into much. We just kind of filled in.
Yeah.
And we thought, oh heck, it's fun to play together.
Yeah.
Why not?
How often do you guys get together to rehearse? Or is that dependent upon when you got a gig?
Once a month.
Usually about once a month.
Okay.
Yeah, we get together. Sometimes twice.
Yeah, depends
on what we got going on, but
Yeah, depending on the gig, we had like a practice regimen going for a little while of like, okay, like we really want to focus on developing our chops in a certain area, or develop a certain style, or what's missing here, what can we continue to work on? Because like in college, we focus so much on like, okay, how do we grow together? How do we comp on each other? How do we communicate is in a rhythm section together? So it's like part of it is getting your sea legs again after being apart for what, 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we came back together. It's like, yeah, things are natural, but let's keep that going. Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep the
we don't want to be stale.
Yeah.
You know? And I think all three of us strive for just higher. I mean, especially in our education. I mean, both of you have masters. I have a doctorate, and I know, Dalton, you're talking about, potentially doing a doctorate too. And I think we just have that mentality of wanting to achieve.
Yeah, why stay?
That ambition.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just fun to hang out too.
Yeah, we're all friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back in college, was it called what then? Because it sounds like the Dalton Petersen trio was just more recent history.
A little bit, yeah.
Backed Brian Hannigan a few times, the three of us with Brian. And that was a time. You were, I think, a freshman when we first did that over at, I think, Wood Grain Brewery.
Yeah,
or
it was
something.
Wood Grain.
Yep. We did that.
Yeah. Yep.
That was the first jazz crawl we played.
Yeah, that's right.
So
with
Brian
Brian Hannigan, the jazz director at Augie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our first.
Yeah, the kid can play a saxophone.
Working,
Okay, can
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
He figured it
I
out.
love the guy. But we were the rhythm section for the Northlanders jazz band at Augie.
Oh yeah.
So that's how we were mostly playing together.
Yeah. And were you mostly playing jazz at that time when you were in college?
Jazz and classical.
Classical.
Both
okay.
him and I, and you too played.
You were a UNI guy for a bit.
Yeah, I was at UNI for a little bit, studied at Berkeley for a little bit, and then transferred to Augie.
Yeah.
But we were also in that other band, the Howling Ginsbergs.
Yeah, Howling Ginsbergs.
Yeah,
Ian
which was like
Rutherford.
this kind of rock band, this rock cover band. Yeah, that was really fun too.
Yeah, kind of weird.
All right, we're going to go through it instrument by instrument as we go across here. So, Dalton, you play the bass.
You got it. Yep.
you have a bigger thing to move around.
I do.
Because it's not the old electric boom, boom, boom that you're
Nope.
dunking away on.
Yep.
You're doing the stand-up thing.
Almost entirely upright.
Yeah.
I bring an electric bass once in a while to our
Okay.
gigs, but I usually pretty much stick to upright.
How did you get started in that?
Well, I was a violin player. That was my main instrument
Mhm.
growing up. I played violin and I took piano lessons, and my school didn't have an orchestra program. But I played a little electric bass in middle school, and the high school director liked having an upright in his concert band. So he's like, hey, you play electric bass, I want you to play upright for this. So I started doing that, and I played in their jazz band in high school, and did all the things a high schooler would do. Did high school all-state jazz band and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And took a few lessons at USD for a little while, and that kind of hooked me on the instrument. So then I started studying with, his name's John Casey. He's a classical bassist in town. And he talked me into going to Augie. So that's kind of how I got sucked in there, and joined the orchestra. I was a music ed major, and I didn't even originally audition to be in the jazz band. Brian Hannigan called me. He's like, hey, I really need a bass player. I need you to do this. Somebody must have told him along the way that I was an all-stater or something, and so that kind of pulled me into the jazz side of things.
Yeah, and did he determine you were a good cat at that point?
Probably not that first year.
Okay.
Yeah, seconded.
Yeah.
But a lot was learned and a lot was thrown in
These
that
guys
year.
were really hard on me that first year. Really,
I actually
put me through the ringer.
I remember seeing you. I went to optometry school, right? And then I didn't see you for 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And I came back and saw a show. I think it was a granola show.
Yeah.
And I was blown away at your skill
His
and the
funkability.
transformation. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see that.
You guys are too nice.
And your education then now educates others, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. I teach orchestra at Patrick Henry.
Patrick
just down the road. Yep.
Yeah. All
Mhm.
right. Great spot.
Yeah, you bet.
And they
Love
already
it.
have orchestra in that age group.
Mhm.
That's what I
they
love.
start at 4th grade in the school district.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So I only teach 6th through 8th grade, so they've already had 2 years by the time they get to me.
So the squeaks are gone.
Yep, mostly. Yep, mostly.
All right. Jeff Thor, you are the drummer of the group. What's it like being a jazz drummer?
Piano.
Keys, that's
yeah.
right.
I play
the drummer.
I'm the drummer.
Yeah,
But
on
yeah,
the keys. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Because,
I guess I do. I do play piano.
Let's mark this down that in the 256 episodes, the fastest answer. Yeah, I do.
Yep. I play
three
piano.
words.
No, let's see. How I started. I guess piano. I struggled at it for decades. My parents started me when I was a 5-year-old or something like that.
Ooh, wow.
So a long time playing, but I didn't really pick up actually playing it, learning how to play it until I was in high school. And I had a great band director. His name was Dr. Dwayne Niles, who's since passed. He was in Watertown when he used to teach there, had passed.
He passed the summer before I started
and
there.
you took up his baton, which is kind of cool. But anyway, he was my band director for a long time. And my sophomore year, he invited me to see Butch Thompson play at the Orpheum Theater. Butch Thompson was the Prairie Home Companion piano player.
Yeah.
And I got to go backstage, meet this guy. He's a stride player. And I didn't understand jazz at all. I didn't understand the history of it, didn't have an interest in it. And then all of a sudden I met this guy and he's doing crazy licks and he's an older guy. And I just ate it up. I just got way into it. And I was like, oh, I need to do that. It is it's a dying field. I thought stride was old and kind of ancient. I mean, it is. But it's like, wow, no one's doing that. I want to do that. So I started kind of learning my way through that. He introduced me to Thelonious Monk records. We listened to it in his office during lunch and stuff. And then I really picked it up from there. So anyway, that's kind of how I started. Did some organing over at Augie, organ major.
Yeah, you played organ a lot.
So played with the feet for a while. That was fun. We got to explore writing, writing for a praise group, writing for a jazz combo. We did some things with the jazz group at the chapel. And
you did a big huge fugue, right?
Yeah.
Your senior recital.
Yep, senior recital, did some fugue work and all of that. It was really fun.
Oh,
yeah.
and now the mascot of the show has chimed in too, Charlie.
Love the dog.
Yeah.
Charlie, you said. Sweet dog, but yeah.
So you actually know what pulling out all the stops refers
yeah,
to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
pull out all the stops.
Unfortunately, the piano doesn't do that all the time,
Right.
so you have to just kind of.
You have to make it seem that way.
Oh, you pull out the stops in the album, that's
Absolutely.
for sure.
There's some weird things
man.
on there.
For sure.
Some on purpose.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I always love about jazz is the improvisation that comes along with it. In fact, I loved it when Ricardo was introducing one of the recent acts. He misspoke, and he says, well, that's the thing about jazz. Never a wrong note. Okay, so Christian and I have an interesting tie. His father took my sister to prom.
Huh.
Yeah.
How
Can't
about
believe
that?
Yeah.
Wild.
Because one night, my wife and I are down at our wine bar, and here's this guy talking. I think you were talking to Brian Hannigan.
I honestly don't remember. Was I playing? I don't remember.
No, because you were sitting up at the bar near us, and overheard you say something about wanting to build a studio in your garage.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's done now.
I built a music studio in my pole barn at my house.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a music studio, and that's where we practice all the time.
Uh-huh.
It's insulated walls inside of a barn, so we listen to music any hour of the day. That's where all of our recording equipment is. Yeah, and that's complete now. Yeah,
awesome.
That is made. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was kind of like I overheard it and said, well, hey, studio? And started, chatting a little bit, and all of a sudden he gives me his card, and I go, oh, a DeJongh, huh? And it's like, wow, somebody knows how to pronounce that.
It's rare. It's so rare.
And I said, well, I grew up down in Rock Rapids, and he says, and then I lived for a while about a half a block from his grandparents. Yeah.
Wild.
And then I said, well, because before we got to that part of the conversation, I said, any possible relation you're of David DeJongh? And he says, well, yeah. And then his father also ended up being a teacher to a handicapped nephew of mine. And yeah, so it was just wow, this is incredible. And then I had to pull the text to my sister of, you wouldn't believe what happened tonight.
Yeah, that small town rural connection.
Yeah, that's always fun. Yeah, so drums for you, though.
Drums for me, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so what is it about the drums that attracted you?
Oh, wow. What a great question.
And are you of that age that had to go to piano lessons prior to learning how to play drums?
Yeah, I did actually. Oh man, how does this go? I remember watching home videos of my younger self pulling out pots and pans. I don't think I could walk it. I was crawling. I would pull out pots and pans, and I'd grab 2 spoons, and I would just bang on them. And I must have been, I don't remember doing this, but I must have been just fascinated.
Your mom must have
with the
loved
sound.
that.
Oh, I mean, they recorded it. So
a tale as old as time.
So I remember doing that, and then in school, I think it must have been 5th grade, they were having auditions, and you would try all the different instruments and what have you, and you had to have at least 2 or 3 years of piano lessons. I had maybe 1, and I knew that day was coming, and I faked sick and purposely didn't go and said, just put me on the drums, because I didn't want to risk being on any other instrument and telling them I didn't have enough piano lessons. And I just said, oh, tell them I want to be on the drums. And I thought that was going to work, and it totally did. So I only had about, maybe a year or 2 of piano under my belt. And yeah, and I became a percussionist there at school in Rock Valley. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Down in Rock Valley. A Rocket.
Yeah, Rock Valley Rocket.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if you went over to Hull and did the Western Christian thing.
Oh no. But I was a Nighthawk. I did
Uh-huh.
cross country for the Nighthawks.
Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah.
Ooh, cross country is a runner.
Best and brightest.
That's how he's so trim. Oh my! So, what do you love about drums?
God, what I love about drums. Everything. I love everything about the drums. What I find, I think my favorite aspect about drumming, and specifically jazz drumming, is that you use few. It's a collection of different cultures. You have the snare drum and the bass drum, which are, European and English in origin. You have the toms, which replicate, timbales, which are, more Latin kind of music, and then you have the cymbals, which are, Turkish, and it's almost a symbol of America and all these cultures coming together and creating this thing that combines these different sounds and societies all into one, and then you can create even a new sound from it. I think that's probably the most fascinating part about the drum set to me. I found that fascinating, and I just love to play and make a groove.
A question that I ask, especially guitarists, is, how many guitars do you have? There's a lot more equipment in a drum set than a guitar. So,
sure.
Do you have more than one drum set?
Oh yeah, I got tons. I got maybe what?
They just increased exponentially.
They did exponentially.
Just like overnight,
recently.
you just picked up a bunch of kits.
Just overnight. One of my favorite teachers, probably one of my most influential teachers, the name of Chuck Case, who plays here often in town. I studied with him when I was really young.
Late Night Boomin'.
Late Night Boomin'.
He's the guy.
He is the man. He took my drumming to a whole nother level. But he recently sold me his drum set, which is so large that it's like 2 drum sets.
Uh-huh.
And then he gave me an additional drum set. So he gave me 3 drum sets, and I already had 2. So I think I'm at 5 right now. I think I'm at 5 drum sets.
Oh, you're going to compete with Al Burvin.
Jeez. I love Al so much. He sold me all of my drum sets, in fact. I started off with this Yamaha.
Music.
Yeah, Sioux Falls Music. God, I love that story. He sold me a Yamaha, this red Yamaha, and then he got me into the DW because he was a big DW guy. So now I almost exclusively play DW drum sets.
Yeah, because every time he posts a picture of, set up for church this morning, it's like...
Breaking out the small kit.
Is this
see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah,
I love that.
It's always
yeah.
And
Chuck Case and his wife have been some of our biggest supporters since we started.
That's true.
Yeah,
they're great people.
Chuck is awesome.
Just the nicest.
Yeah,
they came to one of our gigs at our wine bar and left a massive review on one of our pages. Just like, this
right
was,
when we started.
This was the best night. It was just the best caliber. And
it was also the night we started to wear suits and ties too. To all of our gigs.
Yeah. Ricardo walked up to us and was like, I like the suits.
Yeah,
and then we kept it.
I like it too, man.
Well, you can't wear sweatshirts and tennis shoes, you got to dress better than your average,
Dalton, what is it about playing that big upright that makes you go, yeah, this is cool?
I think the bass is the glue that pulls it all together.
Uh-huh.
It keeps the rhythm. It has the melodic aspect. It has the low rumbling sounds. The bass has always been just the foundation of everything for me, and that really drew me to that instrument.
Yeah, and we've got some good bassists in town too. Andrew Reinhardt.
Yep, and I studied with him a little bit when I was in college too.
Yep,
took some lessons.
And then the Triple R himself, Ruben Rodriguez.
Yep.
Does he play upright? Does Ruben play?
I don't think so.
I've never seen him play upright.
I bet he could. He probably just doesn't own one. I think he told me that
might
once.
be. Yeah.
He just doesn't own one.
Yeah, because he's so fun. He was when I used to do most of my recording either at our wine bar or any other place that I could have a drink, but then I started to have some balance issues with my walking and so forth. So started recording here at home. Ruben was the first one to ever be in the home studio.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
Love
and
that.
he brings 2 bags from Giliberto's along with him. And my wife loves Mexican, and I said, Ruben, you just became Gary's best friend. He says, I'm a Rodriguez. I know how to do tacos. But, I got such a kick out of Ruben because first met him down at the R Wine, and we're going on there on Wednesday nights, and here's somebody's trio, and here's this guy smiling and plunking away on the bass in the back. Next week, it's somebody else's trio. Here's the same guy in the back going boom, 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 boom. Finally, week 3, it's the Ruben Rodriguez trio. It's like, oh, now we know his name. What's been the thing, you say that, the bass is the glue for the music part of it, but what is it that keeps you guys so interested in jazz?
It's a genre that I don't know about how you guys feel about it, but I feel like jazz is a genre that you can always get better at. And I feel like we all have that drive and connection to get better at it together too. That's just why we try to rehearse as regularly as possible too,
It uniquely, I think, in other types of forms of music, there's a interaction that, if you're in a rock band, it's like, all right, verse, chorus, done. There might be a little bit of a solo there. There might be some interaction, but it's nowhere near as connected emotionally, zoned in emotionally, as tied in with constantly listening to everything going on at once, and you're just locked in, and you feel it move you, and it has like a very physical response, I think, for a lot of us, on my end, at least, for sure. It's really cool to hear, like, oh, he's communicating through his drums.
Right.
That's hilarious. Like, it might be, oh, he's telling a joke. That's hilarious. Let's do it. Or, in your bass, it's like, oh, you'll start doing something in the melody or communicating something that way. It's a different form of communication that I don't get to approach in any other genre.
Well, and I think, because we talked about the improvisation earlier, is that it's so interesting because it's almost like you're mind readers. In a way, because you get groups going and you get good professional musicians working together, and it's just like, oh, I know what you're doing over there, and here's where I'm coming in, and here's what I'm going to do, and then everybody picks up on it. And I've always been fascinated by that part of it.
Well, the more you play together with the same people, the more you start to learn their vocabulary and their language, and it gets easier to anticipate some things, and from the outside view that doesn't see us rehearse, twice a month or something, it looks more like that, like it's magic, yeah.
Well, and you've got that magic that you keep getting to play too,
right? Absolutely.
If nobody was hiring you, you might go, let's go watch a football game or something. But,
that's true.
So we're glad that you have that. So the album comes out
December 6th,
and you'll also be at
Trio will be there, on December 7th.
December 7th, okay.
Yep, so it'll be out for a day before we
All right, so you did a total of 4 shows.
Yep.
And you recorded all 4 of them? Mm-hmm. And decided from that which 10 were going to go on there.
Correct.
All right. Now, here's the other great part about jazz then, and just everything we've been talking about, is did any of those songs come out the same all 4 shows?
No,
not one single one.
Not
a single one.
Yeah.
We were down to, I think, 3 different versions of one song at one point, and going, well, that solo didn't turn out well. Oh, we missed it. One hit on that one song. Oh, that one, the ending wasn't quite what we wanted it to be. And so it's like, well, which one? You kind of have to measure.
Yeah.
Which one do we feel like we locked in and will represent us the most?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And it being live, there's mistakes all over it for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of part of the charm of a live
album.
album.
Yeah.
The Fellowship Jazz Center did a little write-up on
Did
it.
they?
They said it's quasi avant-garde.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah, I would say that's some of the technique in there.
Yeah.
A little quasi avant-garde. It's certainly
was that
dramatic.
Was that written by Dan Heyer or by Jimmy Spears?
I think Dan Heyer wrote that.
Dan wrote that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tried to buy Dan a drink for his birthday. It was on a Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
A show that we were at. He couldn't take it. And then I said, well, go over there and, make sure that he gets dessert on us. No, for the same reason. He had guards that week.
Yeah.
And he had to weigh in the next day.
Yep.
Oh, so great to have the three of you guys here.
Yeah.
The Dalton Petersen trio. And since you're all first-time guests, you get the same and ask. How about we say you get the same questions asked of you that new guests always get. And we'll just start and go left to right here. So, Dalton, and by the way, how you answer the first one determines whether we need to ask a second. So, when you are not part of arts and entertainment, what do you like to be entertained by?
When I'm not part of arts and entertainment, what do I like to be entertained by? I play a lot of video games in my free time.
Okay.
Listen to a lot of records, so music is a part of my personal life too.
Yeah.
Just as much as it is a hobby and
Vinyl.
a career too. Vinyl, yep.
Vinyl, good for you.
I have a growing collection.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you got a lot of vinyls.
Yeah, I've had to start over with vinyl after many, many years of having lots of those heavy things.
They kind of went out of fashion for a while, and the last quite a few years now, it seems like I've come back into fashion quite a bit.
Yeah. Any other hobbies then?
I really don't do a lot other than that.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of work. I mean, work
True.
is my personal life too with music,
Yeah.
I gig a lot with these guys. I gig a lot with other groups as a bass player. There's only a handful of us in town that do it. Even fewer of us that play upright.
True.
And so I gig a lot. I do a lot of classical gigs too. I play with the colleges around. I do a lot of gigs with SDSU. I play with their symphony, and then Northern State. I play with them quite a bit too.
Oh wow!
And that's where I got my master's also. So
Okay.
Northern State.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
Jeff.
Yeah.
When
Other
you're
than
not part of arts and entertainment, what do you like to be entertained by?
I'm an English teacher at Roosevelt High School,
Okay.
and so I read a lot. It's my main thing, I think, and watch a ton of movies. But I read a lot, and I grade a lot of essays.
I kind of swore off reading for a while after I finished a master's degree.
And then when he's like, I haven't read a book in a while. I bought a book and sent it to him in Watertown when he lived up there.
I just started reading it. I actually did.
It's good.
Yeah,
dude.
I just started reading it.
Yeah, I was like, my students love this.
That was Tuesdays with Maury.
Yeah,
Tuesdays.
Yeah, classic.
About halfway through it. I just started it yesterday.
Yeah, it'll really shake your fear of death.
Yeah. That's a great book.
Hope
Mitch
you love
Albom.
more.
Yeah. All right. And when it comes to you, Jeff, any other hobbies?
Hobbies? Oh, man. Not really. My wife and I just enjoy Sioux Falls so much.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up here, you have as a kid, you're always like, I'm going to move somewhere big. I'm going to move away. You just have kind of an inherent resentment. And we've just grown to love the place more. And so it's just like, where can we explore next? Oh, there's an Orpheum show. There's a Washington Pavilion show. It's just like, there's constantly things going on. We just enjoy the town. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and while we get to the Rock Valley native, we need to quickly bring up Clay Ackerman.
Yeah,
is in this as well.
He's on the album, and Nathaniel Peckus.
Nathaniel Peckus.
We should have mentioned him earlier.
Yeah. Clay Ackerman, though, a choir teacher over at Rock Valley.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, amazing. Did you see him in Hair?
Yeah,
we were in it.
Yeah,
we were in the band.
This guy wasn't, but Christian wasn't. But
what?
Yeah. Was gonna be though.
I was gonna be. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a conference in
Nashville.
Yeah, Hair was a trip. That was a fun time. Yeah, Clay Ackerman all shirtless, coming down the heavenly staircase with the long locks, gorgeous.
Handlebar mustache.
Yeah,
fun stuff.
Oh, and Oliver Mays there is so much fun.
Yeah,
it's just. Orpheum Theater.
So that's where we got connected with Clay, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hair.
Yeah. And Christian and I knew him from Allen Ginsberg's days. He had played guitar kind of with us a few times, and
that's right. Yeah,
knew him a little bit. Yeah.
Nathaniel Peckus played on it. He played trumpet on a couple of the tracks, same tunes that Clay was on, and he's a good friend of mine from Augie, another Augie grad. In the medical field, he's in Chicago now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in med school.
Look at all these degrees.
My goodness.
And he played in Phantom, didn't he? DCI?
Yep.
Phantom? Yeah.
I think it was Phantom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just such an honor to have those two on our album. Just create some variety and feature some incredible artists.
That is for sure. Yeah.
Great artists that don't often get to play too.
Right.
They don't play at Trio. I mean,
I
think with us was probably both of their first. Well, maybe not Nathaniel's, but it was definitely Clay's first time there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what's so fun about being a trio is we can bring people on.
Exactly. special guests.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, Christian, when it comes to the time not being entertaining and artsy, what do you like to be entertained by?
Oh, geez. I do a lot with optometry. I'm currently on the South Dakota Optometric Board, so that takes up some of my time. Oh, boy, what else I do? Taking care of the acreage I live on. You know?
And your 30,000 cats.
Oh, you have so many cats. I have like over 20 cats. Well, we looked at this house, and there's maybe like 3 or 4 cats outside, and we thought that would be fantastic. We're not going to have any mice.
A little ambiance, yeah.
We buy the house, feed them, and swear to God, 30 cats came out of the trees. 30 cats. And we just didn't have the heart to get rid of them, so we got them all fixed, and now I take care of all those cats. They live in the barn.
You got 30 cats fixed.
Yeah.
You have a really great veterinarian?
Yeah. It's mostly just money that we just waste. It's a lot of just burn cash. So I do. It's honestly, it's a lot of optometry stuff. I'm pretty active in going to the national conventions,
right?
Being part of, the forefront of kind of things that are happening there, and that's been really fun. What other my hobbies?
You also play in a lot of other groups that aren't jazz groups too.
I do play in a lot of groups. Most of my time other than working, is I'm playing in all these other groups.
Right.
Like playing with Danica Michaels quite a bit. Jeez. Just people will just call me and I'll fill in. Granola call me to fill in. Just whatever. And that takes up most of my time, honestly. Yeah. Optometry and drums.
Oh.
Yeah.
It all keeps all of you busy. That is for sure. Well, I'm glad you all had at least a half hour to come by here.
Yeah, our pleasure.
I appreciate it greatly.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And so the release of the album December 6th and the party
December
at
7th.
Trio December 7th.
At 6:30 to
6:30,
10:30, right?
Yeah.
Yep, 2
6:30 to
shows.
2 shows.
Yep.
We'll be there.
Be
all right. Appreciate it, guys.
Oh,
Thank you so
thank you.
much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics inside Oscar's Mini Storage. Bisque, studio time, painting parties, and finished items are available. Visit TJS Ceramic Studio in Sioux Falls today.
Hot? No. Cute? No. Ruggedly handsome? Yes. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Emily Wilson, Shannon Dancler, Dalton Petersen, Jeff Thor, and Christian DeJongh. All 256 episodes available online at davehollyhour.com. Don't forget to use that search function. You can see previous guests, topics. You'll also find links to Arts of South Dakota and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to davehollyhour.com and click on the coffee cup icon. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.